Welcome to Wedding Secrets Online Radio. I'm Jackie Nakwacha, founder of White Petals and Pearls Dove Release, based in the West Sussex area. And today I'm going to be joined by Andrea Sarlo, a well-known professional photographer, also based in the Sussex area. Take a look at some of the inspirational wedding photos on Andrea's website at www.andreasarlo.com. Andrea has a brilliant way of capturing the moment in a relaxed and informal manner, bringing her photos to life by enabling her to tell the true story of a couple beyond those wedding day nerves. Today we will be discussing how Andrea puts together that perfect wedding day picture, how she as a professional works around the fact that not everybody is a catwalk model, and how do you get past those wedding day hiccups should they occur without any of the wedding party being aware anything untoward is going on, and much, much more. Remember to leave us your comments on White Petals and Pearls website so we can keep this discussion of wedding photography going. I was looking at your website this morning and you've certainly got some beautiful pictures on there, and you seem to have a really fabulous knack of actually making people look so relaxed in their photos. Normally I deal with lots of brides on a daily basis that are usually so stressed out.
Sure.
I would find it hard to sort of relax like you've sort of made them look in the photos. Would you sort of interview your clients for an hour or so just to sort of get to know them before you even start to take any photos?
Well, I always have a pre-wedding meeting with them where we sort out the timings and the group lists and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So if they've got anything they need to flag up, we can do it then, so I get to know them. But I do offer a pre-wedding shoot for anybody that wants one, so we can certainly get to know them then. I've just done one this afternoon. We were very lucky it started to rain and we could just get away with what we'd done.
Yes.
We then came back and had a cup of coffee in the hotel that we were working in and caught up. But we'll do the pre-wedding chat nearer the wedding. It's the end of July. But it was really nice just to chat with them, and it's surprising what you can find out. And just doing the pre-shoot, she was about 1.5 foot shorter than him, and he was so protective over it. It was lovely. So there was, lots of shots where he was clearly looking out for her, and it was whenever she got excited or she was really mushy, a little shoulder went up,
Uh-huh.
Like
you say, it's all those quirky bits that you can sort of work into the photos.
I'll be looking out for that on the wedding, and she's going to feel a lot more relaxed now, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's that first meeting, and obviously if you haven't worked with someone before or met them before, you don't know what to expect, do you? Andrea, not everybody is a catwalk model. Everybody has that special little something about them. So how do you actually go about bringing that out to their wedding photos?
Obviously, with getting to know them, that's really important, but I can really emphasise that because recently I've just had an older bride, shall we say, who was really quite shy, and
I hope she wasn't about 50. I hope she was at least in her 80s.
Well, no, but older than in their 20s or 30s. Yeah, she was in her 50s, bless her. And she was very shy, and let's just put it this way, she wasn't a size 8, she wasn't
a catwalk model.
She wasn't a catwalk model, but she was very, very concerned. And when I spoke to her, I got the feeling she sort of didn't like having a picture taken. She was very self-conscious. She was very worried about how she was going to look in her wedding pictures. Really sensed there was a lot of stress involved, her feelings about putting the whole wedding together and what she was going to look like and how it was going to be. So I suggested that we did some pre-wedding portraits. We ended up doing a little portrait shoot for her alone.
Yes.
Whereby I talked her through how to stand, how to lean, what was best to
bring out the best
way of doing things.
Yes.
And this I've gained over many years of experience.
Of course.
And we had a little session and we talked about different things and I coaxed her through and we got some great shots. She was delighted with them. But the bottom line was on the wedding day, she didn't have to worry.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, you
removed
removed that stress.
Day. She smiled the entire day and she forgot she was having a picture taken. Because A, we got to know each other, and B, she'd learnt some tips on how to stand, how to hold herself, a bit about posture. And so, you don't want to manage somebody, but want them to
build that confidence.
Yeah,
to build that confidence.
It worked terrifically. So, I just thought that was a perfect way of illustrating that point, really.
Yes.
I mean, I have photographed West End theatre stars and the odd model, but they are like the 1% that actually know how to stand.
Yes.
Because they perform for a living,
Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, we're not all size 8. Everybody wants to look beautiful in their wedding dress. I have one lady at the moment who says it's going to be my one day where I want to feel like an angel, so everybody has their own ideas about what they want to look like, but it's actually getting that over in their pictures as well, isn't it?
But it's not, it's more about having the confidence to feel good then you look good.
Absolutely.
If somebody's worrying about, if somebody doesn't know how to stand, any amateur photographer would line people up and say, let's take a picture of you to stand there.
Yes.
You're not going to achieve anything.
No.
That's remotely like glamorous or emotional or anything,
No, I can appreciate that. And obviously, just by looking at your website, you certainly do know how to achieve that, with your many years of experience. And that certainly comes through with your photos. You've got some beautiful ones on there. So, going on to our second question, do you have any sort of stories to tell us of things that might have gone wrong on a wedding day that have turned out okay in the end? I know I had one lady who came to a venue and she got a second pair of shoes because obviously she got one pair that she thought she might be able to last through the actual ceremony, but she'd left one of her other shoes that she was changing into in a taxi. And obviously everybody was trying to track the taxi down and trying to hunt this shoe down, and it was a chaos behind the scenes to try and sort of bring everything back to order. So have you had anything like that?
Oh, I should write a memoirs, really, the amount I've got. I can match you shoes and raise one.
Oh, right, okay. Far away.
The wedding I did in Italy in April,
yes,
which is on my blog at the moment.
Yes, I've seen some photographs.
During the ceremony, the bride's shoe strap broke.
Oh, goodness me, no.
And so therefore she wasn't clearly walking very well because the catch strap had broken.
Oh, goodness me.
So after we left the church, on the way to the villa that we were having for the photography and the reception, we went via Auchan, the supermarket chain, big supermarket chain, and the groom went into the cobbler's department and had it fixed before we moved on.
Oh, goodness.
So we had the limo parked up, blocking about 7 Italian cars, and they were blasting the horns trying to get out, and the driver was just going, no, we're staying here, we've got a bride.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Oh.
We got a shoe mended and off we went.
And off you went, yes.
Everybody who'd ever been to a supermarket.
Oh, brilliant. Coming back to the UK, in the south of England here, we've got some absolutely beautiful venues for our bride and grooms to choose from. We're lucky that we have those. Have you actually got a particular favourite? I know you've covered quite a few that I've looked at on the website. Do you have a favourite, that sort of brings more to the photos? Ideally, like the location or the lighting or the greenery, the gardens?
Oh, well, you're absolutely right. Sussex and Surrey here particularly have some amazing venues, and I'm very privileged to be recommended as their photographer by quite a few of them, and I would say a lot of the best. So I'm not going to pick one out because I do love them all, because I've been very diplomatic here. But
yes. Yeah.
And then of course I've got 4 European weddings this year, so that's always a new challenge. But I'm going off at a tangent a bit. Of course it's really important to have fantastic venues, and I totally agree. It's an absolute dream to work in them. But one of the best weddings I ever did was in the groom's family garden in a big tent that wasn't even a proper marquee.
Yes.
And the family were just so beautiful, for want of a proper word. They were a beautiful family. They really cared for each other. And the bride worked with disabled adults.
Oh, right, okay.
And she invited them to the wedding.
Beautiful.
And during the evening, she danced with every single one of them.
Oh,
and the emotion at that wedding,
can be felt.
It's unbelievable. So I absolutely adore going to great venues and locations and abroad and Sussex and whatever. Of course I do. Not going to deny that. But I think weddings, bottom line, are about the emotion and the family and I'm being very soppy now.
No. It is. It's true, isn't it? I think so many different families always have their own stories to tell. You know,
Sure.
There's always fallouts and don't speak to you. But I think weddings sometimes can be such a stressful time because everybody's got their own
Out
idea.
the worst and the best.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got their own ideas of what it should be like. But obviously, I always say to our bride and grooms, sometimes you have to be a little bit selfish. It's your day. And, you know, as much as you try to please everybody, you can't always do that. So, you know, when you do have a family like you've just mentioned, you know, that sort of...
So it brings it back to reality, what it's all about.
Absolutely.
It's not about the, you know, the napkins or the colour of this or the whatever of that. It's about...
wanting to be there.
What you are and, you know, and sometimes you just need a bit of a jolt when you've had fantastic settings and glamorous weddings. You know, family, bottom line, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's and having those friends there as well that, you know, would sort of move heaven and earth and make sure that they are there for you. Just a quirky question here at the bottom. I actually sort of said, what do you think about disposable cameras on the wedding tables? I don't know whether we see many of those at the moment. I know there was a little binge of it, wasn't it? It was the in thing to do, but... I can tell you a very funny story about that. Yeah, feel far away.
When they were quite the rage before the digital age, my bride and groom came to pick up the pictures, and we were chatting about all sorts, as we do, because they end up more like friends, as I'm sure you know.
Yes.
And they said, "Oh, we must just tell you this." They said, "You might remember, but we had disposable cameras on the tables." And I said, "Absolutely." We sort of made the fatal mistake of not explaining enough. So we said, in hindsight, we should have said, take some pictures on the day and leave them or give them to a certain person. But we just assumed that they would be gathered up at the end of the night and people would engage brain and know what was going on.
Yes.
So we bumped into one of our friends who attended the wedding in town yesterday, and we were having a nice little chat, and the chap said, "Oh, thanks for that camera. It was really kind of you. When I got home, I got some great pictures of my little boy."
Oh, goodness me, no. Yes, I think that one could have done with being explained, like you say. Some people...
So they always said after, you know, if you have disposable cameras, why don't you just make sure they give it to somebody at the end of the night?
Oh.
But it's not as relevant now because everybody's got their digital cameras on their phones and stuff.
That's right, they have.
But, you know, I actually think they're probably quite expensive. And most of my couples that have had them have said, you know, the pictures aren't really what they're after. And I think most people can take pictures on their phones and, you know, or, I mean, one couple, an alternative to that was they had discs on the table and were asked for everybody to take them home, upload it.
Oh, I see.
And then hand it to them or post it to them or whatever. So that's, you know...
That's another idea, yeah, I haven't come
a
across
real
that one.
alternative to the disposable cameras.
Right, okay.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today, Andrea. Where did the time go to? Thank you so much for sharing your professional wedding photography tips and experiences with our listeners today, this being our very first Wedding Secrets online radio show. Join us next week for some more discussions from wedding professionals around the Sussex and South East counties, sharing more wedding know-how to create the wedding day you've always dreamt of.